if I hire someone and they are really good, I've just added $130,000 worth of revenue to my company because I know I can sell it through. It just takes time, but I know I can sell it through. You do not turn off your recruiting funnel. It would be insane to do that because you need to have people on your bench. I'm not saying they're employed with you, but I'm saying they're on the bench and you've already networked with them. So the worst positions I've ever found myself in is when I'm trying to force a hire. I want them to be good. I want them to come work for me because I know I can go sell their work, because I can bill them out. So all of a sudden, I'm like hiring people that probably I shouldn't have hired. I wish sales was the hard part. I wish that was the hard part. It's staffing, it's fulfilling.
What if you took your hiring funnel as serious as you are taking your customer acquisition funnel? In this episode, Patrick Murphy from Cascade Home Cleaning is going to share with you some strategies that you can use in your service business to go hire great talent. Let's dive straight into the episode. Patrick Murphy with Cascade Home Cleaning on the podcast this morning. Welcome to the show. I'm excited to have you on, and we don't need to do any crazy intros or anything like that. I want to dive straight into how you got started. But one thing that's really interesting to me right now, and I've been thinking through this, we just had our second kid. So you've got 5 and 2. You're 4 years into business. You now have this summer you're taking off. I think it's so important to figure out how to, at the end of the day, it's like business is going to be there, but these memories that we get with our kids, they go fast.
Dude, it goes so fast. So fast. There's this awesome website called Wait But Why, but this guy writes an essay and it's all about how life is actually really short relatively. Like he breaks it down. He says, if it seems like every book is available in the world to read, and you could think to yourself, I'll read every book. But in reality, you read maybe, if you're aggressive, I'd say 12 books a year, 1 book a month. And you break that up and you go 12 books a year, you probably you have 60 years where you're reading. Like you're really only reading like 500 books in your life. So it's okay. So that makes life feel short. Then you go Christmas magic with a kid. Paul Graham had this essay about how short life is. He goes, Christmas magic with a kid is from age 2 to 10. Like you have 8 chances to do that. If you saw 8 books on a bookshelf, you'd be like, that's not very many books. So it's 8 is really short. So, dude, 100%. I just was like, I left my corporate job in March specifically just to grind on the business and spend time with my kids. Because how many chances are you going to get in life where your kids actually want to spend time with you? I have 2 girls, and I know those teenage years will be tough, but right now they love hanging out with me.
I'm right there with you. I'm absolutely right there with you. What are some things you do
It's
with your kids to have fun?
My kids are like crazy, love being athletic, and they don't love to sit down and write and read and do art. So what we typically end up doing is a lot of they have scooters and they like do little tricks. They got like bunny hops they're starting out with. They got bikes that they love riding.
You know the phone system tool I've mentioned here called Open Phone that we use? They just rebranded to Quo. It's the same business phone system that you've heard me talk about on here before, but they have a new name now. With Quo, you get one flexible app on your phone or computer to run your business from anywhere. You can text clients, record calls, get AI summaries, and even have an AI agent answer your calls after hours. 90,000 businesses have already made the switch. Pricing starts at $15 a month, and you can even try it for free. Visit quo.com/ownerops to get 20% off your first 3 months. That's quo.com/ownerops. And if you're moving from another phone service provider, they'll even port in your number for free. Quo, no missed calls, no missed customers.
We're living out on a farm. At my father-in-law's, it's 5 acres. So we're getting out on the tractor. We're going and feeding the fish every morning. We planted a garden. So they're like they love getting outdoors more than anything. I'm a little worried actually, like as a dad, I'm like, should I be teaching my daughter a little bit more writing and reading because she's going to go to kindergarten? And that's the part that I'm a little bit like, okay, I need to just buckle her down for that, but they don't love doing it. What about your kids? How old are they? You got the little one. How old's your oldest?
I've got a 6-week-old and a 2.5-year-old right now. And
Oh, dude, two and a half
we,
is such a fun age, right?
it's a fun age. It's like she's kicking my butt right now. Like bedtime, after we had the second kid, bedtime has just completely flipped. She was always great at going down, and now it's turned into this 2.5 hour ordeal. And then
Yeah.
she's waking up in the middle of the night, just like screaming. So at first we thought,
That's
okay,
tough.
night terrors.
Yeah.
But yeah, my dad was always like a black and white. This is the right way to do things. This is the wrong way to do things, sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so at first, I had this approach of nighttime was like, okay, we're gonna get her to bed and we're gonna close the door and say this is your time to go to
Good
sleep.
luck in
But
there.
yeah, I have such a hard time whenever she's I'm scared or I had a bad
Yeah.
dream. And it's I think as parents, I don't know, this is why they do not write a playbook for parenting because I feel like every kid
If
is
only.
different.
Yeah.
And I don't know, man. I just feel this need, like I'm her dad and like she is asking for me right now. And man, I've just
100%.
made it a point. If she's screaming in the middle of the night, like I'm just gonna be there for her. And I don't know if
Yeah.
that's the right thing or not, but it feels right
That's what I
or
would
it
do.
feels like the
Heck
best thing
yeah.
I could do.
You're the one, like, you're her only thing in the world. Like, nothing is more important in the world to these kids than like their parents. So if you said no, I'm like, that's tough. What are they gonna, how does that gonna impact them in the long term? So I'm with you, man. Like, when my girls want to cuddle up in bed and hang out with dad, yeah, come on in. That's not gonna last forever.
It's not. You got to
Yeah.
think like at 5, like what do you have? 8 more years maybe of until they're like
Dude.
completely
Oh yeah. Dad
until
is,
they're
I want to be with friends. I don't want to hang out with dad at all.
dad's got a skid steer business or dad's got a cleaning business. It's like at that point we're
Then they're
not cool
interning.
at
Then they're
all,
actually, they're working the business a little.
right?
Get in here, you're working. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. My dad digs dirt for a profession. Dad cleans homes. It's like at that
Dude, but
point
how
we are
cool
no
will it
longer
be?
cool.
No, dude, I think it's going to be great because they have you bring your dad in for school day or whatever. I always felt like in the corporate world, and I worked as an accountant for a long time, and then I was like I was at Amazon, so in a FANG company, and they freaking grind, dude. Like I remember getting home after midnight sometimes. And that is not a life where you can go to a parent event at a school or do a chaperone for a day or just have those days where you can plan around and just say, I know I got a team that can take care of the business for me on this day. And I don't really have to check in. If I wanted to, I could. But how nice will that be when they're old enough where it's like, we're going on a field trip and we need parent chaperones? Like you can volunteer for it. I think that's ultimately going to be like one of the really cool things, whether it's cleaning business or yeah, land clearing, like who cares, man? It's if you can spend some extra time with your kids, that's really what matters.
Absolutely what matters.
Yeah.
I don't know about for you. The biggest motivating factor for me has been I want to go as hard as I can right now to set myself up to where our kids here get Fridays off and basically
Oh,
everybody just skis on Friday.
oh,
And so
sick.
I'm like we have to build the snowplow business to a point to where no matter what, if it's a snow day or whatever, like I just want to be able to go ski with my kids every single Friday and
Dude,
that
that's
be
awesome.
the thing. How
That's amazing.
motivating was it for you, like just bringing kids into the world from a business perspective?
Probably not as much as it should have been, if I'm being honest, man. I feel like my 20s, I really grinded hard. I was working easily like 60 to 80 hours a week in the professions I had. And my wife and I were able to build like a good safety nest at that point. Like we lived comfortably. So bringing the kids in, I never felt like a need to go grind even harder from what I'd previously been doing. In fact, if anything, I was like, okay, the kids are here. I need to reel it in because it would be really a bad experience for them if I'm never around, if I'm always working like those late nights like I had been. And so I actually chilled out a little bit in my once I had my kids. If anything, like I feel like it became more work smarter rather than harder. Like when you're in the corporate world, or at least in my experience, I was in the corporate world, I was getting rung through the cogs of just, hey, you're an employee and you just are going to work and do these things and these are tasks. And there's no like real autonomy or agency to work smarter. You are just like checking off the boxes. Like we love our good employees to do. I love when my people check the boxes, but when you're in that position, it's hard to think bigger and go, I can make my job insanely easier. Once I had the business and I still was working the corporate job, I thought to myself, holy, like how sweet would it be if I could have a VA with me doing this job? Like, dude, I would work so much more efficiently. But like, I have an NDA and I can't bring this extra person. I can't go build this extra process. But in the business, you can. And I was able to. Like, I have probably, I have thousands of zaps that run every single month that just take days off of my plate, off of other people's plates. If I could have done that in my corporate job, dude, maybe I would have lasted 30 years, but it's a grind and it's not that feasible. As much as like Amazon would tout ownership as a leadership principle and take ownership, have the agency to make a big change, it's like you are still a cog in the wheel. There is only so much change you can make. And really, man, I probably actually dialed it back when I had kids rather than had the motivation to say, I need to grind even harder. I was like, I gotta reel it in a little. You seem to go the other way though, right? You like went insane on it.
Went insane on what?
Like the actual like drive, once you had your kids, did you grind into it and lean in on the business and like work way harder?
I did because this was I placed a bet and it's an asset heavy business. And I just
Mm,
knew that if I failed, it could be like it wouldn't be like life-changing catastrophic, but it would us back probably like a decade if I would have failed. And so I was like, I'm bringing a kid in the
yeah,
world. I'm name on the line for this heavy equipment
yeah,
and I
that's
just
fair.
built a house, right? And so I was like I just there was only one option. And so the
Totally.
motivation to bring the kid in the world and have her it's not really like her livelihood, but more so just it's almost like my wife's peace of mind having
Hmm.
the kid and was riding on that. And
Totally. That's a lot of
I
pressure though. That's a lot of pressure.
it is, and I liked it. I
You
need that pressure.
thrived. That's good.
Yeah.
Bezos talks about two kinds of stress. Have you ever heard this? He's got
No.
like he talks about stress and he says there's good stress and bad stress. And the way that people normally think about stress is it's bad stress. Like I have project deadlines that are looming and they feel like weighed down by it. But that's not necessarily like a bad thing. The stress part of that is just there are things coming and it can become a good thing where, if you just take one action, you say, I got a project coming and you do one thing like I'm going to set the next meeting or I'm going to call this one person, all of a sudden that stress just like fades away. And all of a sudden you're like, wait, that stress wasn't that bad actually. It just was like a forcing function to bias for action. And it seems like if you're feeling that stress and you're like, I love it, it's probably because you're like, you must be grinding and doing just like task after task to get those things.
I'm naturally a procrastinator and very
Yeah.
ADD. And so
Yeah.
if I have the stress or the pressure, it
Yeah.
actually kicks it just kicks me into gear. And then
Yeah.
I don't know, like I've just figured out a way to stack the cards, a game that I need to play personally. It's never been about like competing with other people. It's like, all right, Austin, here's how your brain works. Let's figure this out.
Hmm.
How do you play this game and create these little milestones or these incentives that like
Yeah.
really push against you to push you into action?
What stresses you out the most, you think? Is it sales, hiring, something like that?
It's interesting. The first thing that comes to mind is plans. I don't like plans.
Oh,
I don't like a
how
booked
do you mean?
calendar. Energy.
Yeah. Is this your
Like
nightmare, having a scheduled podcast?
nope. I love the podcast because I get energy from
Yeah.
one-on-one conversations from people like yourself.
So it builds up your day. It gets you started in the right mood, that right energy.
It does. And I only do it on Fridays and Saturdays, one slot in the mornings. It's like this is the only
Okay.
slot that I do. So it does give me energy. How about you? I'm curious to hear what's your biggest version of stress?
Dude, fulfilling jobs. Selling is easy. Staffing is hard. Fulfilling the job is so hard.
Mm,
I don't know if you feel this way, but in home cleaning, the staff can be very transient in a way. And what I mean by that is there are people that are like very good employees. And this is like nothing about demographics with age or type of person or where they're from. There are just some people that are like very good employees because they are naturally like on time people. They're responsible. They know how to talk with respect to other folks. And there's other people that are late. They don't show up. Like they don't think it's important to communicate. They just will eat whatever pain they're feeling. And in house cleaning, when I have a day I have something I call the 7 a.m. scare. I wake up at 7 and I think, who's calling out today? Every single day. Who's calling out today? And the hard part about that is I've already made the sale. Now it's on me to make sure I can staff it that day. And that dude, that gives me a little bit of that bad stress. To combat that, what I have is like different processes to help. One thing is I have my VA start the day at 7 a.m. with me. We're going to triage this together. If we have any issues at 7 a.m., he's on the phone with me and we're looking at the calendar. That's the immediate triage. The process that I set up to help in the longer term is typically staffing with up to three people, almost never one, usually two, sometimes three. And basically, that gives me that buffer, that slack in the rope. So if something has to give, I am going to have at least one person out there to get the job done right. It might mean we have to push jobs later in the day. Like, I think when people get their house cleaned, they're okay to say, you're not coming at 9 a.m., it's at 11. That's fine. I'll still be at work, or that's okay. Sometimes it doesn't work and people can be picky, but give myself a little bit of slack in the line. Last week, I had a terrible experience where I had almost almost 25% of my jobs were either canceled or pushed because I had so many staff out. I had one that had his mom in the hospital. I had one that she herself went to the, like, I don't know if it was the ER or it was like urgent care, but she went to the doctor. I had another gal who was just straight up out sick. I had another gal who had car issues. And normally, car issues in house cleaning means BS. I don't believe it. You probably just are not reliable. But in this case, like, this gal's been on staff for a long time and actually had car issues. So I had like maybe a third of my team out. I have a district manager who I bring in to help cover like when those things happen. I hate using her in that way. That is not the best use of her time. But if I have to fulfill the job, she is going to be there to help with that. It was so bad, I still had to cancel 25%. So I'm actually making a change where this upcoming week, I'm going to put someone in, like, I'm going to guarantee their hours at 40 hours a week, and I'm going to put them in a position where they're going to be like a sub. And that's going to give me one extra piece of like slack in the rope so that my district manager doesn't always have to step in. She gets 40 hours guaranteed. I can't tell her where she's going that day. Maybe 7 a.m. I can when I see who's called off, but it's going to give me a little extra slack. So to me, that's like the most stressful thing is fulfilling the job. So it's like working around how do we staff it?
Quick rundown of your business model for listeners: home cleaning, 1099 subcontractors, or are you
Nope.
all in house?
Yeah. Okay. So I'll give you the intro. Yeah, my name's Patrick Murphy. I'm the owner of Cascade Home Cleaning out of Bellingham, Washington. We clean homes and commercial spaces. I used to think of us as a marketing agency that happened to clean houses, and that's when I had 1099 contractors. Now I think of us as a staffing agency. We can get the marketing done. We're the big dog in the small market we're in. So now it's a matter of staffing it. Can we staff the job correctly? The jobs will come in, but can we staff them? What was your last question? Was it something about the breakdown of the business of like how it works?
I just want to go straight into staffing because I think this is such a, I think, like I see a lot of businesses right now. It's okay. First is owner operated, like this
Mhm.
business doing everything myself. Second is I see myself as a sales and marketing company.
Yeah.
Sweet. That's great. That's actually not that hard to do when you
Yes.
digital, and
100%.
if you just
People
do
will
the
come.
things, you're going to get leads, right? If you
Yes.
just
Yes,
do what a
exactly.
lot of people on X are talking about. But third, and this is where I'm so excited to have you on, and I would love to focus the next 30 minutes of the interview
Yeah.
specifically on this. What you said is we are a staffing company. So
Yeah, man.
this is the bottleneck. I can't tell you how many people I've talked to in these owner operated or small businesses recently where it's like, how do I find people? Can you teach us?
I'll tell you my process, and
Let's
I
do it.
would say like with house cleaning, if it works for house cleaning, I gotta imagine it's gotta work for other stuff. And a lot of what I pulled was from my days at either a big four accounting agency, which is these are national accounting firms that have tens of thousands of employees, international. And so they do a lot of staffing. It starts with college recruiting, and then they work people up to become a partner of the firm. And then the other thing I pulled from was my days at a FANG company with Amazon because they also employ in Seattle alone, it's got to be 40 to 60,000 across the globe. It's like in the millions because they have delivery drivers. So they do tons of staffing. And I pulled from what I saw in those two businesses and I just applied it to house cleaning. And I feel like that level of sophistication, you don't even have to get 100% of the way there. If you get 80% of the way there, you're going to be staffing better than most mom and pop in your local market.
Awesome.
All right. So here's my process. I primarily use Indeed's my go-to. They have a way where you can sponsor your job postings. A lot of people like I used to just throw money at marketing and sales, and I wouldn't put anything on sponsoring a job post. That thing would get buried so fast. Like you need to be in front of eyeballs of potential candidates. And the benefit of being at like a big company is like people may reach out to you. No candidate is reaching out to Cascade Home Cleaning looking for a job unless there's a job posting out there. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's one of these things where you got to actually get in front of eyeballs. I personally treat recruiting as seriously as I treat like sales and marketing. Like I'm looking at the same type of funnel. I'm saying I have a pool of candidates. Like you might say you have a pool of potential customers in the market. I now have to qualify those candidates just like you would qualify a customer. You have to do a lot of follow up with those candidates, just like you do follow up with these customers. And so basically, building out a funnel for recruiting to me is as important or more important than what happens with marketing. And once marketing is set up, if you don't have your fulfillment, like you're dead in the water. Like, great, you sold the job, but people are going to be pissed when you don't show up. You know what I'm talking about? So,
Absolutely.
yeah. Okay, so you're on Indeed and you have a job posting. And if you go on Indeed, you should go look and see if other people are posting similar things. Because one thing that you may have done at the beginning of the business, like I did this, is I called competitors. What's your pricing? And at the beginning, I priced like towards the bottom. I just did this recently. I called again and I said, what are you charging for this size home to clean? And I got all the pricing and I decided I actually should raise my prices to be slightly above. Like we're top of the market, we're the big dog. So now I'm priced higher than anyone else. And so the same way you're checking prices on competitors with how they sell, you got to check with what they're paying. Like to me, you got to pay. If you're going to go charge top of the market, you got to go pay the top of the market to bring in the best. And so to me, go look at Indeed and I'm looking at what are other people, what are my competitors paying? And I'm going to mark that up. I'm going to pay even better than that. And it should work in your numbers. I'll break down my numbers for you as well, what an average job is. It
Cool.
should work in your numbers. If you can't make it work, you're going to struggle to find labor. If you're trying to pay less to get better results, it's not going to work. Like people don't want to be paid less. So you got to go look. And then the other thing with that job posting is when it comes to the actual copy of it, like it better be really damn good. You got to have really good copy on your Indeed job posting because you get people who are gonna, you got a lot of tire kickers when it comes to Indeed, and you got to be able to catch their attention. They're gonna, I don't know if Indeed swipes or they just scroll, but people are like just going right through job applications. Like when I post a job on Indeed, like I'm getting hundreds of applicants, hundreds and hundreds of applicants. I imagine if I took my copy and I put it really bad, I'd probably get like dozens. You know what I mean? It would just not be the same because you got to catch their attention of why should it be that they're going to work with for me? Especially in house cleaning, it's like the type of job where anyone thinks they can do it. And so I got to compete not just with other house cleaning companies, but I got to compete with if you're a manager at Taco Bell, or I got to compete with people who might go work in hardware store. Maybe they've done some house cleaning on the side, but they also could do other jobs. I got to compete on price and what the job actually is to make them excited about coming to join me. All right, I'll pause there, man. How's that sound so far? Do you do something
Inc-
similar?
Incredible. I want you to teach us the sauce if you have it. Are you willing to
I have some,
share?
yeah, I can share more. For me, in the first two lines of the ad copy, I'm going to talk about like the things that will make me different, whether it's the price I pay, how the frequency at which I pay. So I pay above market, I pay weekly, I pay direct deposit. I basically call them out and I say, hey, if you want this stuff, read below. Hey, you want to get paid at 26 an hour? You want to get paid every single week? This job might be for you. And I know I'm going to pull like a bunch of unqualified people, but I got to try and catch the diamond in the rough. You know what I mean? There's like that one needle in the haystack. And dude, just to come back on things that are stressful when you can't fulfill is when you don't have the staff. Not even that they're calling out, but you're selling more than you have the people for. So the worst positions I've ever found myself in is when I'm trying to force a hire. I want them to be good. I want them to come work for me because I know I can go sell their work, because I can bill them out.
I recently got back from launching a land clearing business down in Austin, and this last winter I launched a snow shoveling business alongside Bear Claw. And in both businesses, I've implemented Jobber as a way for us to efficiently manage quoting, job schedules, and invoicing, and even collecting online payment. Why? Because it's worked so well for us in Bear Claw and it's saved us a ton of time and headache. So if you are looking for a software that can help you manage the back end of your business, look no further than Jobber. You can visit go.getjobber.com/ownerops, OWNROPS.
But if I'm hiring out of pressure, like I might be like looking over red flags or finding things like that I like reasons to hire them rather than reasons not to hire them. So all of a sudden I'm like hiring people that probably I shouldn't have hired. So it's a really bad position to be in. I always have recruiting on. I always like you don't turn off your sales and marketing. You do not turn off your recruiting funnel. It would be insane to do that because you need to have people on your bench. I'm not saying they're employed with you, but I'm saying they're on the bench and you've already networked with them in the same way that like you can't just go out and hire the CFO of Amazon. You're going to go network with people and have them around. And when that position comes up, you can go tap on them and go, we talked about this a month ago or 2 months ago. I now got something for you. I need you on the team. I've wanted you on the team. I told you we didn't have the jobs quite yet, but we are going to grow the business just to get you on the team. And that's going to make them feel wanted and excited. And so you got to have that bench. And so you got to keep the funnel. So in that funnel, you got to have it always on for those folks. So you got to get the diamond in the rough, which means you're going to get a lot of unqualified people, but you have to at least capture the attention in the very beginning to bring them down the page. From that point, you got to like basically try and disqualify them. As soon as they're hooked, you start the disqualification process. I guess that's different than sales. I guess maybe it's the same. Either way, you could disqualify or qualify them. But when you disqualify them, I'm going to tell you all the reasons you actually shouldn't work here because I want you to know that once you get in the door, like you should stay. You're self-selecting in to work here. And so I'm not going to hide all the things that are a problem. I need to actually tell you all the bad things. And if you're still good with it, like, hell yeah, I think you're going to be great for the team. Hey, our schedule's not perfect. Sometimes people cancel. Are you cool with that? Hey, I don't like jobs come in and sometimes you have 1 day notice. Are you good with that? There will be people that are not okay with that. And unless you bring it up during the qualification process for applicants, like you will hire people, figure out that something you do makes them unhappy, and then like they're out the door. And all of a sudden you've budgeted or planned for these sales that now you can't fulfill. So I do as much disqualification as possible, even in the job description. I'm going to put my core values. I'm going to put very specific, here's what you're responsible for. I'm going to talk about what's going on in our business on a day-to-day basis. And so if they're still clicking through, and dude, a lot of people tire kick and will click through, but if they're still clicking through, like there's some intent there that maybe this is the right place for them.
Super cool. What
Okay.
next?
Should I keep going? Okay. So
Yeah.
you've got the job posting. You've got the job posting on Indeed. You've sponsored it. You can do it per day. You can do it where you can actually like go look for applicants and invite them to apply. I don't do that. I've tried that before. I don't think it actually is worth the money. They're going to try and get you on a budget of 60, $80 per day. That's a fairly expensive to hire, at least when it comes to a blue collar kind of entry level work. So I do a daily sponsoring at like $5 or $10 rate. I think five's the minimum. I know Indeed what they do is they actually will sponsor your post and they'll run through the budget. And then as soon as you've hit your budget, they kind of bring it down. So if you want to get top of the page, you'll have to spend more. As soon as you run through the budget of like people clicking through, similar to, I guess, to LSA, right? You have LSA, you have a budget. Once you click through and there's enough people and your budget is done for the day, your LSA goes away and your competitor comes up. So it's the same thing there. So you can tweak how much you need based on your job you're hiring for in your market. But you got your job posting out, you've got it sponsored, 5, $10 a day. The copy is good. Ask ChatGPT, whatever you want to do. Go look at some competitors. Go look at dude, honestly, what I did is I looked at house cleaning companies of people that I like respected and admired that are not in my market. And I kind of like piece together some of the stuff they're doing. I'm going, this guy in Michigan's doing something cool. That guy down in Tennessee's doing kind of something cool. Oh, this guy in Ohio, he's got this. And so you can go look at anyone's job postings, just pull the stuff that looks good and you think would grab attention. And then I also do it hyper specific. You can do it for a county. I do it really specific. My reasoning for that is because I'm thinking if you're looking for a job, you're not looking for job in county. You're like, I'm looking for a job in this town. So I will run the same ad copy in multiple towns in my location. Like I'm in this really small market. I told you the name of the town was Bellingham, but in reality, it's like less than 100,000 people. So I will put a posting for there, but I may also do postings for the small surrounding towns. And it might cost, then I'm going to allocate my budget across all of them. But I know people in that town are searching for jobs in their town. Once you get them in the hook, you can say, hey, actually, you travel. You may be in your town, but you may have to drive 15 minutes to this other town. They're okay with that, but I don't think they're searching for jobs in this county, right? House cleaning this county. They're searching for jobs in this town. So multiple job postings that are sponsored, that have good ad copy. And once you get through that, you're going to have an automated message. This is what I do, at least. You get an automated message kicked back to them. Because, dude, this is like recruiting takes a lot of time because you get 500 applicants and you are weeding through loads of garbage. How many applicants you get on a job, you think?
I'm, I'll let you keep going because I have a process too for
Okay, I'll tell you the whole thing
like
then. And
the very final hook
yeah.
for here's what it takes for me to look at somebody.
Oh, dude, okay,
Yeah.
okay. I'll
So go
tell you
ahead.
my whole process. Let me finish, dude. I'm very long-winded, so let me go a little bit quicker.
I'm following it, and this is super valuable for people. So listeners, if you're listening, like, and you're still on the sales and marketing thing, and you're still trying to get leads, like, just know
Hell yeah.
that once you crack the sales and marketing stuff, and once you start getting leads, this is going to be your main focus right here. I'm going
Dude,
through it right now.
dude, I wish sales was the hard part. I wish that was the hard part. It's staffing. It's fulfilling.
It's all sales, right? Like
Yeah.
right
Oh,
now,
dude,
it's a
yes.
sales and marketing funnel to go sell
Yes.
someone on why they should come work for your company.
And dude, let me tell you, like my mental model, the framework I think about this is it's 100x more important than sales, maybe 100x. I'll tell you, here's my number of how I get there. My average job is $200 for a recurring customer. Okay, $200. Kind of peanuts. You need to get a lot of recurring clients to really build a base. When it comes to when I hire one person, I can take the number of hours they'll work in a year times what I bill them out as, and that number is a lot bigger than $200. And that to me is holy crap. Like when I hire someone, I've unlocked a next level of being able to sell through. So if I think about the people I have, it's 2,000 hours a year that they can work. And the reason it's 2000 is because you're going to take 50 weeks in a year. You take 2 weeks for vacation. People are going to take the holidays off or whatever. So if you have effectively 50 weeks in a year, people are working 40 hours a week. Ideally, max. I'll tell you, like, that's not, they're not working 40 hours a week with me because they have to drive between homes. But max utilization, 40 hours a week. So you take 2,000 hours in a year they can work. I bill out at 65 an hour. That's $130,000 that if I hire someone and they are really good, I've just added $130,000 worth of revenue to my company because I know I can sell it through. It just takes time, but I know I can sell it through. That's a lot more valuable than a $200 job that, like, if it went sideways and I had to fire the client, okay, no big deal. But if I have to fire a cleaner, I'm like scrambling to go find who can fulfill $130,000 worth of work. Do you have a number that you bill out at specifically where you could come back and say, this is what an employee is worth to me?
Yes, but I have a couple different businesses. So let's take
Gotcha.
this. Mine is very similar
Yeah.
in a labor business that I have here in snow shoveling. So
Yeah.
very similar model at that point. I'm curious to hear. Let's go back to the job description though. I want to finish out
Oh,
the
yeah. You want to
qualification
finish
piece.
that up?
Yeah. How do you go?
Okay.
Like,
Yeah.
what's your process when you're getting 500 applicants?
Okay.
How do you screen them
So
and filter?
how do you screen them, dude? Okay. If you're in the early days, you will be on Indeed.com a lot. And that's okay. Like you can go through every single candidate and take a look because it feels good to find the needle in the haystack when you go, this person actually matches everything I want. There are so many people who I get where they are a hostess and they've never cleaned a house, but they've cleaned at home before and that's what they put. And so that's great, but I need paid experience. So again, like when I try and disqualify them in the experience in the actual job posting, I say you have to have 2 years of paid experience. Paid, all capitals, paid experience. Will people still apply who say that they just clean at home? Yes, they will. And you will be searching for those diamonds in the rough against 500 at the early days. What I do now, though, is I have an automated message to every single person. And that automated message basically says, hey, thank you so much for applying. I need you to come to my website and apply. It's going to put you in front of the queue. It's going to put you at the very top. And if you come to my website and apply, then, you basically jump the queue of being looked at. Thank you so much. Here's the link. And I send them into my funnel on my website. So it's effectively I'm doing a lead capture form, but instead it's like I just ask them the most basic information. So I keep my Indeed very loose on like filtering people out. On Indeed, you will have options where you say, I have these requirements that say you have to be authorized to work in the US. Okay, that's a good one. But then there's other ones where it's, I need you to do this and I need you to be able to drive. Are you okay with being within 50 miles of this place? And people can get crazy with all of these things that they're asking. Like people are just going to turn away. They're not going to answer 50 questions on Indeed. They're going to like press apply and maybe two things. You know what I mean? So if they're intrigued, they press apply, two qualification questions, maybe. Okay, good, good. And they get that message, they see the message. If they're not tire kicking and they're actually interested, they're going to see that link that says, "Oh, go to my website. I can jump the queue," because then they're going to click through that link, come to my website, and have an apply form right there, where it's like, again, very simple. I just want to ask very basic questions. Check the box. Do you have 2 years of paid experience? Do you have a car that's reliable? All that type of stuff. So I basically bring them into my website. Once I have them there, I can do a more, that was screening number one, by the way. If people don't go through, I will go search out the diamonds in the rough still. But I know that people who have actually come through the website are much higher intent to work for me. So I can probably filter down more than half the people. Like it's got to be. I think I've ran the numbers for me and for another cleaning business before, and people will drop off at an amazing clip if you are asked them to take one simple step. And if they can't take one simple step, do you want them working for you anyway? If that's the job for them and they don't want to click through one link, maybe that's not the type of person that's going to be a real good employee anyway. For you specifically, maybe they have other passions that they're interested in, but they're not going to be into house cleaning. So I filter them out, step one, just by having them go through my website. Then I actually have another kind of disqualification. It's very easy because it's just check the box on those things. I'm not going to ask anything too hard. It's going to kick them into, okay, great. Like they get an auto text message from me because they've hit my landing form. And that auto text message is going to say, hey, it has a 7-minute delay. So they're like, maybe still looking, but it's not like super instant AI. I actually am I'm a little bit anti AI when it comes to recruiting because I need the most personal touch on this. I need people to think that, oh, I need them to know we care about them. If they think this is AI, they're out. No one wants to get recruited by a robot. Okay, so I leave a 7-minute delay. I have a message come straight from me that says, hey, so I just happened to see your application come across. I would love to get you on the team. Here's a link to schedule a first round phone screen. So I stole that from Amazon. So Amazon has a process where they do a first round phone screen. It's just like the most basic thing. What I'm looking for is can they show up to a phone call? I don't allow same day phone calls. It has to be at least one day later because I need them to be able to at least set a calendar date for themselves one day in the future and show up to it. So all I'm screening for is can they show up? Then I'm going to ask some of those questions that are going to be a little bit in like the disqualifications that we just chatted through. Basically, like you check the box that you have 2 years of paid experience. So what's your experience? Where did you work? Tell me a little bit about it. So that's like phone screen one. And we're going to go through that whole process and we'll disqualify like 75% of people through a first phone screen. So out of the 500 applicants, we've got probably lost at least 50% through just going to the website to apply. We've lost another 75% coming through that's actually doing a first phone screen. Either they're not showing up or they continued on in the process even though they don't have the experience. After that, if they pass, I guess to be really specific, I have a Google form that my VA fills out. He does every interview. They're scheduled 15 minutes. I have a Google form and it's just like very easy for him to follow. I have a whole template of here's the exact questions to ask and then write in the candidate name, their phone number, their job experience, like why are they leaving? That's a big thing I want to know. Like what are you looking for in your next job? Some people it's more pay. Awesome. Everyone should. They're trying to better themselves. Some people are just straight up, I work for bad management right now. And then it's okay, tell me about that. What's bad about it? I don't like it because my hours are unpredictable. I don't like it because this person's just rude. And it's okay, let me tell you about what we can offer you. So it's the sales thing. We're back to sales. It's like, what's your pain? Why are you thinking about leaving? I just want to know because that's what I'm going to talk to. If I'm trying to tell them about whatever, we have paid sick time and they don't care about that. Like, why am I talking about that? You know what I mean? So I'm just going to figure out like, why are you leaving your company? What's most interesting to you? And I'm going to try and sell that. So he's got it all basically templated out on a Google form. And at the very end, there's a radio button and it says, wait till the end of the interview. If you're inclined, if you want to move them forward, there's an inclined button and a not inclined button. If you're inclined to move them forward, you press it. And if you're not inclined, you press it. And that will trigger off a zap. And if we are inclined, they get a automated email, automated text that basically says it waits like an hour, but it's like, thank you so much for doing the interview. We'd love to continue you in the process. Here's another Calendly link. It's a video interview with our district manager who's like on site. She's like in the field, and you can just talk with her. If we're not inclined, they get the automated text after 1 day that basically says, hey, thank you so much for applying. Unfortunately, this time we're not going to proceed with your application. So that's all automated. I also shoot that into a Slack I have that is as a recruiting specific channel. It's like hashtag recruiting or whatever. And basically every single thing that happens is like new application, first round failed, first round passed. And if they pass, that Google form is kicking off into a Google Sheet, or I guess it'd be a Google Doc, has all the information. And now it links to that. So when my district manager goes to do her interview, she can go back to Slack, search the person's name. This is for Susan. She finds Susan. There's a Google Doc link right there. And she can read every note about the interview, ready to go. So she's ready for her interview based on the first round phone screen. She does her phone screen. If she's happy, that's another dude. Okay, so we've disqualified a lot of people at this point, by the way. Like we've probably gotten down to out of 500, we're at like 3 people. It's mental. But if she's all good, and she does like more of the detailed questions. How would you clean this? What chemicals would you use? What are your core values? This is what's important to us. And we have 3 core values. Like I was very diligent about this, and I want to find people that like care about those 3 things. And so like she's asking all those very detailed questions for 30 minutes. And if they pass, we are going to basically move. And again, she has like a Google form as well. We're going to move them on into a background check and then a test clean. And if both those things come back okay, so first, of course, we're background checking everyone before they ever go into a client home. But if that comes back good, and then we send them to a test clean, our crew is, yes, their quality matches what we expected. Then at that point, we will be offering them a job. And I use Gusto and I send them a job offer. And I give them a call personally and I said, hey, I'm so excited. I get to offer you a position with our company. We just can, some of the things I maybe missed, but we're going to screen for is, do you want full time or part time? Because that goes on the offer letter. What role do you want? And here's what the pay is with it. And I'll actually talk about that for a minute as well, because I think it's an important part for the company or any company. But before I get into that, dude, I know I'm freaking going off on this. So let me know where I should dig in more or not.
This is incredible. Absolutely incredible. This is the verbal masterclass on hiring. I
I'm
believe that
dying.
any local service business owner can apply this principle and this framework and just go follow this. This was the
Yeah,
premise of the podcast. This is why I haven't focused specifically on one industry, because I'm a
yeah,
firm believer that by talking with Patrick, even though he owns a home cleaning business, I'm in land clearing, 2 radically different services. But
yeah,
we deal with the same things. We need to
yeah.
have a website, a sales and marketing funnel. We need to hire, delegate, fire people when they're not doing what's asked of them. But at the end of the day, it comes back to sales and marketing, which hiring is just a sales and marketing funnel. And so, like, you are teaching the
100%.
masterclass on this right now. And I'm so thankful that you are here teaching this, because I think there's a lot of people who are going to get a lot of value out of this.
So how many employees do you have, or do you do 1099s?
No, I have W2. In Bear Claw, we have 6 right now, plus a VA,
Six.
so 7.
Yeah, yeah.
We're in
Near
a
four. I
really
have about
small.
20.
Go ahead. You have
Okay.
20 what?
20 employees. And so but I've churned through a lot to get to 20 good ones or 20 solid ones. You know what I mean? And I continue to have to churn them because people have things that come up and they move away for family and whatever it is. But yeah, if you need to cut your teeth on any industry that does a lot of staffing, house cleaning is one of them. So I do feel like I've unfortunately learned many things over a short duration. mostly through mistakes.
Ah.
Yeah.
Striker Digital specializes in SEO services specifically for local service businesses. Bodie and Andy, the two co-founders, have helped me get Bear Claw Land Services to the #1 search result on Google inside my state for my specific search term. If you want to learn more, visit strikerdigital.com. That's STRYKER-digital.com. Look, I know we've got some more stuff to cover, but listeners, if you're listening to this, is really valuable stuff. I'm going to take what Patrick has taught and I'm going to implement this into our business. And I think this is applicable to really any local service-based business. Yeah, we'd love to have you guys in there. Patrick, anything else you'd like to share with listeners before we close this one out?
No, stay out there. It's hard out there. Keep grinding.
Keep grinding. Yeah, I love it. I love it. Listeners, thanks again for listening to another episode of the Owner Ops Podcast. Patrick Murphy, Cascade Home Cleaning, and yeah, so that was literally the verbal masterclass on the hiring process. We appreciate you guys listening. Don't forget, work hard, do your best, never settle for less.